welcome to another edition of the One Team We Agree On. I'm Jillian.
I'm Kyle. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
I'm doing well. A lot of news coming out again today within the MLS union and all things in between. Thank you for tuning in. And we got a fun episode on tap. And our guest today, I'm going to share a story. So behind us is a banner. You can't see it. It's a scarf from 2022 MLS Cup, the
Hmm.
old LAFC Philadelphia Union kind of split color.
Hmm.
When we tried to get it, it was sold out.
Hmm.
But we did end up getting it. But the story behind our guest today is during that time we were thinking of starting this episode, the One Team We Agree
This
On
podcast,
podcast.
yeah.
Yes. And we've said this many times, people are probably like, oh my gosh, you're gonna tell the story again. But we basically had been, talking with Todd and a couple other people, and lo and behold, we were kind of like, oh, let's kind of decide if we want to do this. And so during the tailgate prior to kickoff, talking to some fans, and they're like, yeah, you should do it, you should do it. And we're sitting there at this soccer field next to the tailgate, and we were talking to our guest, and we ran this idea by him, and he said, "Go for it. I think, union content. We can always use more union content." So um, today, our guest is Rene Turner,
Nice.
and you know him better as Silver Ray on Twitter and Blue Sky. And Rene, how are you doing today?
Doing good, doing good. Happy to be here.
Well, it's good to talk to you. And again, one of the best things I say is your designs, and also the fact that you're the unofficial record keeper for Doop Records, and just that run from 20 to even this year, it's just been remarkable. Keeping all those records, and we will talk about them tonight. We'll talk
Hmm.
about some of his fun designs as well, and we're gonna get into some news. But before we get started, what we're wearing today?
All right. Well, while I had thought about sporting something Eagles because go Birds,
Yeah.
big thing this week. They're playing their next playoff game on Sunday on my birthday. And also the Union have a preseason game on my birthday on Sunday, so that's pretty awesome. But no, actually I went with the Love Unites shirt that's like the oil slick one from the 2024 season. I haven't worn it in a little while and I do like this one.
That was a solid design. I like that one.
Yeah, I remember when that came out. I made a comment when
Yeah,
I
he did.
first saw it. I was like, "Well, I know what Jillian's buying on Saturday." And she quote tweeted and goes, "Yep." And then,
Yeah, and it's funny because in our group chat, like they said that and stuff, and then I was when it came out, I was at my lunch duty um for my school because as special teachers we get stuck with the duties like that. And anyway, so I'm at lunch duty in the cafeteria, and my middle schoolers and there, my sixth graders, there's some boys they're into soccer, and I was like, I pull up my phone, I'm like, what do you guys think of this jersey? And they're like, oh, that's awesome. I'm like, I know, right? Because I'm gonna be buying that. Yeah, but I had an informal poll of several students. They're like, that looks cool. Yeah. So anyway.
Renee, what are you wearing?
So tonight I want to pull one of the rare ones out of my collection here. This is the 2017 fireworks jersey. Um, the One of the special jerseys they came out with. Ironically, this is the same year that they came out with the rest of the Bethlehem Steel jerseys and sold them as a third jersey. So that happened that year as well. But this one, I like this one. This one's a rare one. It's all very hard to find. So I was happy when I came across it.
Yeah, so
A good
funny.
eBay find.
Yeah,
Hmm.
funny story about that. Like that's one outside the Bethlehem Steel kit I want to add to my collection. And you go on eBay, you can find like the Brian Carroll one for like what? Oh man, the BC
Right?
one's like three, four, $500, and there's a
Yeah,
couple other. And if you find like one, it's like child's youth, like small, so you're not
right.
getting,
Hmm.
and they still want $100 for it. Like I'd like to wear it, but that one you do not see at all. And it's like whoever bought this, because I know it was very
They didn't come
limited.
out with many of them.
No, it was like, wasn't so I was asking somebody today about that, and they said it was literally like they made very limited across the league, and it was just like, yeah, for 4th of July. Like
Yeah.
now, was the whole league a question? Yeah, because you're around. We still weren't around then. Was that like a 4th of July like league wide game week?
So I think at that point the union were still kind of doing their own thing.
Okay,
And, 'cause there was the league kind of, with the kick cancer jerseys and the military jersey and all that. Like those didn't come out until a few years later. So
okay.
this was before all that started kicking off. So
Oh,
yeah, this I'm pretty sure this was union only.
oh, that's interesting because like we were discussing
I
that,
know
and,
that like other teams kind of did their own things as well, but like
right? And
everybody
that,
was separate. It wasn't the league thing that it is now.
gotcha. No, because I had seen other designs like that, and that's why I asked that question because it's very unique.
Yeah.
And again, I think that's what makes. And I wish MLS would get back to that.
Yeah, it is
Yeah,
pretty
right.
sweet too.
I
Yeah,
love
that is
that.
a good one.
I mean, I think me sitting
Well, I
on
mean,
this.
some teams are still coming out with their jerseys.
Hmm.
Like hopefully eventually we'll get back to getting one more of ours out, right? Everybody
Right.
wants the
Yeah,
next Pepper Steel kit.
yeah,
I would love to see a redo of that.
that would be great.
So
Yeah.
anyway, where can people follow us, son?
Oh, Kyle, you didn't share it. First of all, you didn't share what
Oh,
you're
oh my
wearing.
gosh, I didn't.
Kyle.
Kyle. Anyway, I'm wearing kind of a players. This is what the players wore last year at times. Pre-post match, we saw this in the media mix zone last year.
Yeah.
Just a long sleeve T-shirt that was a team issued. They sold the team shop at MLS store. You got this for me
Yep.
for Christmas. It was a design when it came out and I saw it. I really, really liked it.
Yeah, same.
It's just, a little midnight navy with light blue, a little bit of the what is that, smoke kit?
It kind of is reminiscent of that a little bit,
Yeah,
but it's got like the different shades of kind of blue and like even like purple there. So yeah, it's pretty nice. But
Yeah.
yes, well, you can find us on social media. We're on Twitter at TOTWAG, also Blue Sky at TOTWAG. We're on Instagram and Facebook at the One Team We Agree On. We got our YouTube channel, the One Team We Agree On. We have our website, the one team we agree on.com. And individually, I'm at silly double underscore Jilly on Twitter, and Jillian Almany at on Blue Sky, and Kyle's at Coach Almany on both Twitter and Blue Sky. And well, I am on TikTok. We'll see how long that lasts. That's supposed to that might be gone on my birthday, which okay. So lame, but I don't know. It's Jillian underscore Almany on that. So,
mm.
but yeah, that's where you can find us.
All right, well, let's get into this. So, Renee, for the fans that might not be familiar with you, um, what is your union story and how'd you get into the team?
So I've been lucky enough to pretty much see the rise of soccer in US. Like I was when I first really started paying attention and following soccer, like our national team was made up of like college kids and semi-pro guys, right? And
Hmm.
so watching the shot heard around the world and just kind of seeing US soccer and MLS grow from there. It's been a pretty fun journey. I started out in Columbus. I was able to be at the very first MLS game in Columbus, and also the very first game at historic Crew Stadium. So that was a lot of fun. Um, and then after that, I moved to DC and spent the 2000s. Well, I moved to Baltimore and spent the 2000s kind of spending a lot of time at RFK.
Did
But
you see any,
pre
did you see any raccoons? Let me ask you that.
yeah, yes. Yeah. I
And
actually
was
have
it
one of the. I have this stuffed DC raccoon
Oh,
upstairs.
that's awesome.
uh,
I have to put a Union jersey on it now, though.
Yeah.
uh,
So then after DC, I moved up to Philly in 2011, and during my whole time in Baltimore too. Um, I was able to watch kind of the growth of the undergrowing of the Union as well, and watching all the build up to that. So that was a lot of fun too. But I will say one thing. At, I was at the 2007 MLS Cup against with Houston and the Revs, where like that first group of Sons of Ben were
Hmm.
starting to heckle the Revs and stuff like that.
Where
So
where
that
Ale
was
where Alexi Lawless kind of went off on
yeah,
national television about like that supporters group. Yeah.
Oh.
yes, yes.
Yeah, we were not watching that game, but looking back and like, have you ever watched listened to podcasts like 30 years for 30? It's like 30 stories
Yeah,
for 30. Yeah, like, and they talk about that. And then I went back and some of our
I'll
listeners,
check that out.
yeah, it's a really cool. It's like 30 stories for, basically it starts at the beginning, like even pre-MLS, kind of building up to, I want to say it was 2000, 2020. It's kind of like in that, and they would
Hmm.
still kind of bring up stories. And it's just interesting to listen to Volva League, but they talk
Yeah,
about the Sons of Ben
Hmm.
in that.
yes,
And you got to guess
Oh, we
there.
gotta guess.
yes. This is Arbon.
Aw.
Oh. So, having been around and seeing the league grow from the inception to now, um, I want to ask this question. How has, in your opinion, the league evolved?
Well, it's crazy, right? At one point we were down to three owners,
Right?
for all the teams in MLS. So it's been fun to watch. I mean, even since the Union had been in the league, just before that, like there's been a pretty immense amount of teams that have been added since, like
Hmm.
when Vancouver and Seattle came in, that was right before the Union, Portland, like those three came in, we came in, and then like there's been we've like doubled in size, right? So
Right.
Hmm.
um, it's been amazing. It's been amazing to watch, really. I mean, it's been fun to watch even the national team grow too. It's like seeing us grow from know,
Hmm.
nothing to now we got like Pulisic's out there on a regular basis. Reyna just scored today, right?
Yeah, and
So
Pulisic went out in an injury, so
yeah, I
Uh-oh.
know, right?
yeah, I mean, as you know, we've said it. I went to soccer camp with his dad when he played for the Harrisburg Heat.
Yeah, cool.
Um, and Hershey's 45 minutes away. So, we've
Right.
always been huge Christian Pulisic fans,
Hmm.
and to see him growing up, I was a huge AC Milan fan in the 80s when and I'm sure you remember this, like back in the 80s, you didn't get ESPN and
Yeah.
ESPN FC and like all internet now. You would get a magazine and maybe you get a video with like here's Serie A, like you
You got to
know,
wait till the next Eurosport catalog comes out.
yeah, exactly. So you hear those stories secondhand. So it's cool to see him doing so well, internationally now, kind of seeing his potential, but
Yeah.
we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll see. But so even though things are a little blue at the moment, what still excites you to support the team and get you to the games?
It's so going back to getting into the union and stuff, I started going, I moved here in the middle of the summer in 11 and started going to games then. And then by probably 13, I was going to pretty much every game. I could miss a couple every summer or whatever, but and then became a season ticket holder in 18 when we had like a good group of us together. So we've got a nice spot on the bridge side, right at the 18 on the river end side. So that's our spot. Um, and yeah, so I've certainly seen Union as bad, well, almost as bad as what we were this year.
Hmm.
We- this was a literally a historically bad season. But yeah, I just really enjoy getting out there. Watching these guys. Watching Saturday mornings. Um, it's fun to catch the games on TV, right? But
Right.
to be able to see somebody on the field out there, 20 yards from you doing things that you could only dream of doing, yeah, it always brings me back.
Yeah, no, we really enjoy going to the games and we love the social aspect of it too and the community of it. And personally, I'm looking forward to getting back to them. I'm kind of psyched though that there's no home February games. I mean, March can be still pretty cold too and so on. But um no, it is really fun. And a lot of people got into the team when they were on that really good run. So now that like they've had some difficulties. They're like, what? But like, it's like I was like this with the Phillies. Like I've liked the Phillies since, well, as far back as I can remember. And
Right.
they've had some really good years and some really bad years, but I still enjoy watching them, no matter what, and getting to the games and everything. So,
Yeah.
um, if you're really bought in, you
And
have
I
to
and
be.
I think that's it too. I mean, 136,
Yeah.
as one of our friends, Eric,
Yeah.
one of our seatmates would say, 136 is basically 700 level of the old vet,
Oh yeah.
so to speak.
Right.
But I remember last year was at a game and it was when it was going really bad. I think it was the Miami game.
Oh, that was
And I
bad.
Yes.
turned to him and we were up at the top because it really wasn't that crowded and we were all at the top. And I just turned to him, I said, so yeah, is this what it was like? And he goes, pretty much. I said, well, I don't know about you, but tonight's been fun just sitting down here and just having some. And he goes, it's funny. When we were good, it was amazing. And look, winning always trumps losing. We
Hmm.
all know that. But I think the stories from I've heard from the dark times, even pre 2018, um,
Some of those
were
Open Cup runs were a blast, right?
I've heard
yes,
so
and
much
and
about
they
those.
they would
Yeah.
say you always had to look forward to the Open
Hmm.
Cup.
Right.
And you always had to look forward to the how are the Union going to lose this game?
Right.
And that was kind of the fun of that. And we didn't get to experience much of
Mm-mm.
that because by the time we got season tickets, it's 2021. But
Yeah.
there is that special kind of family. You're all in this together. Let's support the team no matter what kind of thing. And
Yeah.
we can still
Absolutely.
be critical, but you can still support the team.
Right.
Right.
So, um, let's shift now to Jim Curtin, for a moment. Jose Nunez reported that Jim's going to sit out 2025 potentially. And, you know, at this point, every club has been announced for a new head coach. So Jim's going to spend time with his family. Kind of just wanted to, take a year off and kind of reassess. And I think that's as coaches ourselves, having done that, I
Hmm.
think that's very valuable. I
Yeah.
think there are times, you're going like when you think how long MLS is,
Yeah.
it's very difficult. You're going February basically to make it
Yeah.
to MLS. You're going and then you got what 60 days off and you got
Well, and the
That's more
coach's
days
job
than we
is
get
done
off.
at that point, right? He's
Yeah.
the coach's job is year round, right?
well, I
Well,
mean, it's
yeah.
like with us,
We
our
don't
job,
even get like we get less break even than they do, like
right?
Yeah.
than the
So
soccer
we
team.
get that. So I mean, I want to know where you stand on just number one, Jim's legacy, but two, when you hear the news that,
Hmm.
maybe he's not going to NYCFC, which a lot
Yep.
of people were
Thankfully, right?
speculating, that was
Yeah.
a good thing, but
Or even Red Bull.
or even
Yeah.
Red Bull, or, DC, I mean, that's one maybe potentially keep an eye on if it,
Yeah.
we'll see what Troy happens with Troy, but,
Hmm.
again, where do you rank where do you see Jim's legacy first and foremost, but second, what do you think about, him deciding to take a year off potentially?
Yeah. So I mean, we've been lucky with Jim. Not
Right.
many teams get to hold on to a coach for 9+ years. I mean,
Right.
Right.
that's just unheard of in any sport, right?
Right.
Across the board. So, we've been lucky and blessed in that regard, and that we've been able to see kind of like Jim's journey, right? So that's been a lot of fun. 2016, 2017, I will admit that I booed Jim Curtin on a fairly regular basis. um, but like 2018, he started turning it around, and things started clicking, and I knew he kind of like reached the next plateau when he figured out Harris Medunian about halfway through the
Right.
19th season.
Yeah.
Like that was kind of like his next step up. And then
Yeah.
from there, it's been a lot of fun to watch him, even take on the whole energy drink
Mm-hmm.
um system, and I got doing fairly well with it too. So um yeah, it's been a fun ride. I've
Yeah,
enjoyed it.
it has. And you think one day he'll get into Ring of Honor?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
I
like,
sure hope so.
the growth that this team has gone under his kind of leadership is pretty incredible. So yeah, I think yeah, and he's been with the club so long too, right?
Right.
So
Right. I mean, he started up, when he came in 2014, just working as like resetting, working with the very bottom youth academy, and then
I've got a picture of him with like 10-year-olds.
Mm-hmm.
that's in itself is a really cool story,
Mm-hmm.
like you see him, he's trying at the end, his time in Chicago's over, and now he's kind of resetting his life, and then to see him go from that to where he was. And then, you've said it, just the relationship, w- interacting with him on a daily basis. I
Yeah.
think that's one thing a lot of fans, and I'll be interested to see how Bradley, now we'll get to in a little bit, we've heard that he's been good with the fans, but also, there's been mixed reactions. Either he's really good or he's eh,
Yeah.
so
I think they're
so.
a little pissed off at him by the end of last year, or by the end of his time there last year. But
Yeah, but
Mm-hmm.
getting back to Jim for a second, I think that's the one thing. Jim was who he was, and he was good
yeah,
with people. He was a leader of
he
men.
was a really good guy.
Yeah,
Honestly,
he's such a good guy. And
yeah,
like, I mean, he's good with the fans, he's good with media. Like, I was able to talk with him, and he's great, And the fact that he's a Philly guy and he's so supportive of the other Philly teams, like he'll be, wearing Kelly Green shoes, when the Eagles were playing,
Right.
and
yeah,
just like and showing up at, the celebrations for, the Eagles or the Phillies or whatever, and it's just awesome. So he's just like, down to earth and, the local guy. So we're really lucky to have him all that time, honestly.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah, and the other thing I do want to add this real quick is thing that always impressed me when I was out there on watching training, or it was just me or in the press box for
Hmm.
like in the media room for a press conference. Like I go down on Friday and maybe be me, maybe Tanwell and those guys
Hmm.
weren't there. He'd always talk to you,
Yeah.
or
yeah.
even after training, he'd come over, shake your hand to say thanks for coming out.
Hmm.
He always made it to be a point to say thank you for coming out
Hmm.
and watching this team.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you bring back up the Columbus story.
Yeah.
You want to share that real quick?
When we went to Columbus.
Yeah, after that match.
Yeah. No, so yeah, we drove out to Columbus. Also, our friend Todd Lewis was out there, and
Yeah,
so really it was just us, the three of us there, reporting for the Union.
with three people from Columbus, which is
Yeah,
wild when you think about how many there were in the press box for
right?
the Union games.
Yeah.
They only have three consistent people
Yeah.
for right now, the hottest team in CONCACAF. We've seen the rankings, they're number one. And it's like they have three people covering this team
Uh-huh.
on a daily basis. So,
Yeah, it was
Union
insane.
fans, you're very lucky to have so many choices.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so we had the post-game presser in the crew 2 locker room
Yep.
there. It was like Jim was seated at a table in the locker room, and it's a small locker room, and then it's just the three of us, and like Sage, and like,
Yeah.
yeah, basically like, um and we just there wasn't even like chairs, it's just like Jim's at a table and we're just like standing in front of the table,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and
That
we
was
asked our
wild.
we each asked our questions and everything and whatnot. And after the presser then, and Jim said to us, he thanked us for coming all the way out there. He's like, like, thank you guys for coming all the way out here. Sorry you had to watch that game.
No,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and when
Yeah. That's what he said.
and when Todd and I were in the
Well,
press,
that was another one we got lost from behind, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
no, they scored first, then we tied it up, and then it
Oh,
was
yeah, that
back
was
and
it.
forth, and then they just kind
Yeah.
of blew the doors open at the end.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I also remember we were in Colorado. It was just Todd and I in this little locker room. This like
Was it even
literally,
smaller than the
it's probably
room too?
smaller than our couch. We're
What?
sitting there in this like high school like JV locker room with these two chairs and Jim's just at a desk. And I just remember like we're sitting there just rapid firing questions after they defeated. If you remember the game from not this year, but the last year against Colorado, there was that brawl at the end. We're having this great
Yeah.
conversation. And at the end, Jim just looks at us and goes, "You guys came all the way out of here. Thank you for coming." Like
Yeah.
he was always appreciative to people that traveled
Yeah.
Yeah.
to watch this
Yeah.
team, and he gave us time. DC last year it was four of us. A Red Bull last year. It just
Or even like
those
just
stories are
yeah.
what makes this era that era of the Philadelphia Union
Yeah.
so special.
Yeah, even like well in the summer, during Leagues Cup, and I was actually more available because of being off for the summer, and so I'd go down to the pressers, and there was a couple times where maybe it was just Todd and me, or there's a time where it was just me in the press conference room, just
Hmm.
me with Jim and then the
Yeah.
union staff, and it's like, so of course I can ask all the questions I want first, which is great, but like, I had the chance to talk to Jim. The best was when I had broken my foot and I was in there and I was on
Yeah.
crutches. Jim walks in and he looks at me. He's like, "What'd you do?" And I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
That was the best.
I'm like,
So
"Yeah, it's a dumb story."
funny wrap up. I see him the actual game day, and like I told you this on the drive home. Jim come over to me. He goes, "How's your wife doing?" So,
Yeah.
Oh,
but
he did. You didn't even tell me.
I told you that.
I don't know if you did. Maybe you didn't. I
Yeah, I
forgot.
did.
But
But anyway, he just kind of made like a little quip, like, "Is Jillian okay?" Like, I think it was at training because I was the day before the training, and like, he was just something. It was just funny, just like he remembered her and just remembered like the people that covered his team, and I think that was something. But
and because we're nobodies compared to like people that have been doing this a long time. Um,
and,
we're trying to build something, but
and I think
Yeah.
that
he
needs
treated us
to,
equally. You know what I'm
and I
saying?
think that needs to transition
Yeah.
and to the news today.
Yeah.
Uh, Marlon LeBlanc.
Yes, Union 2 head coach. It's been reported. You know, it's been well, the Union and Union 2, like they posted it on there,
Yeah,
and we'd kind of heard things, but like, rumors and stuff. But yeah, so Marlon LeBlanc is not back. We're not sure where he's headed next. What's
but
going on with
he
him?
is no longer at
Yeah.
the
I'm not sure he
organization.
Yeah,
knows either.
yeah. So, which it's kind of an odd thing when at least for a lot of people, it looks like what's going on because he just took that team to the next Pro Cup and did
Hmm.
amazing things with Union too, and and was very well liked and everything. So
Hmm.
one hand you think, okay, well maybe he's got something bigger planned. Who knows? But in
We
any case, we have no idea. So um,
It's been
yes,
reported.
hmm
Jonathan Tannenwald said today that basically came down to his son Kellen, who you and I
Yeah.
interviewed is on pro contract, and for better or worse, I mean, Ernst didn't want to have Marlon coaching Kellen.
and the thing
Yeah.
about that is it's like but it happens all
Your
all
dad
the time.
coached you.
I am, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm the child of a coach. Like my dad was my high school swim coach, and you know, and the thing was though, like there was never nepotism at all. Like it was like, in fact, I think he was harder on me.
Well, and when we
And that's
I'm,
interviewed
I'm
Kellen,
trying to think of like other examples of that happening, and like I'm pretty sure
Bradley.
what Gio, well, yeah, Michael Bradley,
yep,
Gio Reyna was at
Yep,
yep,
Red
Junior.
Bull
Hmm.
when his dad, when Claudio was assistant there. Um, yeah, so it's like it's certainly happened, but I mean, I guess I can see it, but I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Hmm.
it's a bummer for Marlon for sure.
It's
Yeah.
a double-edged sword. Like I get where Ernst is going with it, and I'm not trying to defend him here, but I think the optics aren't the greatest for the time. It's a business
Oh
decision,
yeah,
but the optics
timing
are
wise, it's horrible.
it is.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
We
just looking
want good
to
news right now, not like more, stupid crap news.
right. well, that and the fact that you just took the team to MLS Pro,
Yeah,
Next
right.
Pro Cup.
Next
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pro Cup
yeah,
with this like the youngest or second youngest roster.
yeah, yeah.
But I mean, Renee, we'll ask you this, and because we're talking a lot, and we apologize, but just what you've been to U2 games? Like,
Hmm.
what do you think of Marlon LeBlanc and his kind of legacy with that club? What he's done? I mean, he's been around since like the very beginning of that
Yeah.
Union 2.
Now, he's kind of another legacy guy, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
Hmm.
a kind of a one we be able to hold on to the system. And again, I'm kind of bummed that we are making the decision of not letting him coach his son, but um, I don't know, whatever. I do hope that he finds like a good landing spot next one because he absolutely deserves it. I mean, he did a great job with you two this year.
Yeah.
It's like um, and I don't think they're with such a rotating cast for the kids like that. Yeah, that's got to be one of the tougher like coaching responsibilities, tough coverage coaching jobs out there. So I thought he did pretty well with that.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. No,
so
absolutely. I mean,
and I know that it's his aspirations are to eventually become a head coach somewhere. So yeah, I'm looking forward to kind of seeing him take the next step and hopefully get there.
yeah. I'm curious to see maybe does he go USL? There's not many USL jobs, and does he want to go down to USL? Or maybe again, like Jim, takes a year off, reassesses, and
hmm
Yeah.
sees maybe there's another MLS Next Pro job, or maybe even something opens up where he can become. I'd love to see him as an
Well, I
MLS.
mean, you look at like the Danny Cruzes
Yeah,
like some of those like there are good opportunities in USL at this point.
absolutely.
yeah.
So
Yeah. But like with Marlon, I really, as someone who is a developmental coach, at least in
yeah,
swimming and, you know, I can relate a lot to like I really work on the development and then the kids get good. I send them up to our like
yeah,
top level groups, and then they, whatever. And it makes you really proud and everything to see them do that. But, at the end of the day, yeah, you might do really well. You might win things and stuff. But at the end of the day, you're more focused on the development. And Marlon preached that all the
yeah.
time. So, um, but I just appreciated that. And, um, he was always great to talk to as well. Like he'd give us great answers, when we ask questions and, pressers and like at most of the Union 2 games, it's a lot more informal. They just have us
Yeah.
back, in the
Right.
area outside the locker room and just they bring out whoever we're going to
Everybody,
talk to.
Jillian, everybody's seen the clips that we've done on our iPhones.
Yeah.
Just
So I
sitting there
mean,
with
it's
Marlon.
pretty,
I mean, it's
yeah.
legit, but
Yeah.
there was something special to that I
Yeah.
hope, if it is true that it's been reported Ryan Richter, we know Fred's gonna come in as an assistant as well. And
Hmm.
Good Fred talk.
and
Yeah.
Fred and both Ryan have spent time at the academy. They have developed. So if you're moving off of Marlin, at least you're gonna get these two. So I'm kind of excited to see what they can do.
Yeah, there should be some continuity there, I think. It's
Exactly.
Yeah.
it's not like bringing someone in who's like brand new and doesn't know their
Right.
system. So,
And
but
honestly, I'm excited to see what Reiner can do. Right. He's
yeah.
kind of he's
Yeah.
he's been around enough that
Oh, there's yeah.
There's a joke there.
Yeah.
Um, with we are excited to see what Ryan Richter can do, and that's
Yeah, we
not a
are.
knock on Ryan. Like
I just
w- w- I think
sorry.
at time,
No.
I think at times, wait a sec, cat.
Shadow's like going for my
yeah.
headphones.
I think
Stripped his phone off.
there's always been like kind of a thing. We've interacted with Ryan. He's
No.
been amazing. And just another Harrisburg City Islander guy. Played for
Yeah. Right.
you. I think there's that
Hmm.
connection there. But there, some people listening right now are just gonna chuckle at the what can Ryan Rick. We're excited to see what Ryan Richter can do.
Well, yeah.
Because we haven't
We just
really
haven't
seen
really
him
seen what he can.
do at
Shadow,
that next
geez,
level.
stop.
So, you want to take him out?
Yeah. Excuse me while I go kick our cat out of the room.
So, yeah. Well, there we go. One of the funny follies of this show. But anyway, Renee, let's move on. Talk about. the future. Now, Ernst is now kind of in charge. There's no Jim, and it's now just Ernst brings in Bradley Carnell. And I guess my first question is this Ernst Tanner's kind of plan now to see it out? Do you think, A, if this doesn't work out and it goes south really bad, he's out the door? Probably Carnell's out the door. But I mean, it's it's energy drink soccer now. Um, what are your thoughts on
Yeah.
the hire of Carnell and just kind of everything going on?
Well, like the current era is officially closed now, right?
Curtain is
This is
Mhm.
this
closed.
is this is Tanner's club, and at this point,
Mhm.
this is almost all of Tanner's players. This is
Hmm.
like is Tanner's coach now, and we are going to see Tanner's system incorporated this summer. So we're going to be right back into full on energy drink soccer.
Six,
Um,
60, 30, 10.
yeah, you're right. 60-30-10.
Which again, like
And
go
who
ahead.
knows? Like we might be able to get and come back and see like what we saw in 20 and 21. This might
Right.
be the revitalization to get us back to that style that kind of took everybody by surprise again. Maybe Bradley's got that. Who knows?
I mean, he certainly had, I mean, St. Lucie has historic year.
Mhm.
Yeah, right.
And and you hear the fans that
And
said
that was
after,
another one where we kind of shot out of the gates, right? So
yeah, and then you heard the fans of St. Lucie. Well, after that amazing breakout 17 games, they had what, like 26 points or something
Mhm.
crazy,
yeah,
and they
the,
didn't
the steam
really,
kind of ran out a little bit.
the steam ran out. And so you got to wonder, this team A is going to have to be fit because they're going to
Yes.
press. But in your opinion, do they go with the diamond that Tanner wants, or more of the Red Bull 4-4-2 flat? Because this team doesn't really play well with the 4-4-2 flat compared to the diamond.
That might depend on who we bring in at this point. Like
Yeah,
Tanner's still promising what 6 to 7 additions. We got
right.
$2 million into the cap. We got the room to bring in some decent firepower. Who knows if that actually happens, but um, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the midfield shapes out. Yeah, I think the front line is pretty much set, right?
Yeah.
And Grebo and Godstag are still going to be running things.
Yep.
Mhm.
Ideally bringing somebody else up top too, but we'll see on that. Um, but
Yeah.
I think the midfield is going to be the place where we're going to see a lot of motion because I think Quinn is still going to be out there, right?
Right.
He's got the right side pretty much locked down right now. But is McGlynn here next? Right now he's the one who has that national team being shopped out right now. So it'll be interesting to see if he still kind of fits in. And then I still kind of think Danley Jean Jacques is going to be more kind of pushed up a little bit more. I'm not sure that he's going to be our sixth. So, like, is that going to be Bueno? I would love to see some Bueno out there.
Yes. Yes.
Um,
I
or are
do.
we going to bring in somebody new at the six? So yeah, the next few weeks are going to be interesting.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, we've had some fun looking at like the pictures that the union have posted today.
Oh, and we'll get that in a little
Oh
bit.
yeah,
Yeah, and like kind of think
the new
about,
Spain
let me
shots.
see who's in there. Yeah.
We'll get that to a little bit. But you brought up two interesting points. I mean, first, Jesus Bueno. I mean,
I want to see more Choo Choo.
I think
Yeah.
everybody wants to see a little bit more Choo Choo. Obviously, Kyle the baby wants to see more Choo Choo. But and I've said this a couple times. Some people said I'm wild saying this. If we stay with Jack McGlynn, and we do the
Mhm.
diamond, we know the
And,
defensive left.
there's a pretty good chance that he doesn't get sold in the off
Yep.
season, and we are he's going to be around next year
I
or
mean,
for this season.
Joe
Mhm.
Tanzi has claimed in his hearings that the market for Jack has cooled off. Now, maybe that's why
Yeah,
he's out there with the national team. Who knows? But what I will say is that Leon Flocke, was reported today, is going headed to the
yeah.
Polish league, which is a great move for
He
him.
found his landing spot.
Mhm.
Yes, he's gone back to Germany, be with family, like Ernst said, and I think that's a great spot. Having said that, you know, when Leon was on the left, Kai could push up more, create more chances. et cetera, et cetera. I've said this a couple times on this podcast, but the defensive lapses aside from Jack, I would love to see a double pivot with him and Bueno, kind of in that
That work.
position
Yeah.
where, yeah, or at least get a strong defensive partner with him where
Hmm.
he can kind of push up and create more. Having said that, I kind of with you where I'd love to see Danley kind of roam one of the edges a little bit more of the diamond and get a really true like
He looks
gritty.
like he's got enough attacking kind of, intuition that
Right.
putting him at the six doesn't seem like, it seems like a waste of what he can offer. So, yeah, I have a feeling he's gonna be pushed up more.
Like get somebody, I'm not saying like a Harris Medunian, but like a Bueno
Right.
or like a Martinez. Get somebody that's physical that can distribute, but also has that grit to lock it down defensively. Maybe not the stray voltage, as I like to say, of a Jose Martinez, where all of a sudden he'd snap and go crazy. But that's what we loved about Jose, right?
Hmm.
Um,
I miss
Hey, your
Jose.
six is your enforcer, right?
you have to be at
Yeah.
that position. You have to be, and I'm not knocking that. It's just sometimes we all know that Jose would lose it and be like, "Okay, Jose, you need to calm down. Please calm down." And you hear Jim even say, you need to calm down
No
a little.
yellow, Jose. No
Yeah,
yellow.
no yell, no yell, Jose.
I
Um,
miss Brujo. I
but
do.
having said that, I think that is something you need that brute back there and
Mhm.
somebody that can also facilitate a little bit. And
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see what they do. So, having said that, put on your sporting director hat right now. What moves are you gonna make? We already know about Ian Glenvinovich. Probably butchered it. I can't wait to hear
Yeah.
how it's pronounced.
Way too many
Glenvinovich.
syllables.
Yeah. Watch it be like something so different. We're like, what?
Yeah.
Um, you have a Jacob Glesnes who didn't have a very good year. You have Harriel, who is, defensively solid. I almost feel like he's like a Leon Flock at a right back position, but
I'm very excited to see him this year.
but here's the
Hmm.
thing I'll say about
He's just getting better and better.
here's the thing I will
Yeah.
say about his offensive production. On set pieces, he's outstanding. Ariel Harrell is amazing.
Yeah,
So
man.
I'm
Hmm.
not trying to compare him to Leon Flock because he's a totally different player. But what I'm saying is we know he's going to be grinding out defensively and then great on
Yeah.
set pieces. And if he can continue to develop the passing,
Hmm.
that area, you got Kyle on the left. We'll see about the buyout, $2 million
Yeah.
buyout. And then you got Bizo. We know what Bizo is. Hot and cold.
Hmm.
Um,
Yep. Yep. He's either playing at like,
I do have to say I'm
high
kind of
level or not.
surprised that he's still like that
me
they picked
too.
up the option on him. I was
Yeah.
I was a little shocked by that.
And
But yeah,
Yeah.
also one
I don't
one of
know.
my most famous hot takes that never went away that I said
Yes.
Bizo was going to be a top five back in this league after 2021.
I
And
mean, how
then
old is he now? I mean, he's what, 25?
yeah, no, it's
He's
he is what he is at this point. He'll
yeah,
give
exactly.
you
Well, exactly, right?
he'll give you a
And
he'll give you a
unfortunately, Tanner's talking about how he wants every player to improve. I'm not sure Mbaizo has improved much over the last 2 years.
I don't know if he
Like
can.
he's gonna plateau.
I think they figured him out. You get him on skates, he gets in his head, it's over. He shuts out.
Well, I
I'm
mean, he's still kind of the same person he was a couple years ago. He has like
Yeah,
he's fun on the dribble. He can go forward, but he's
right.
still he's kind of a loose cannon on defense, and you don't know what you're really going to get out of him. So
Yeah. Yeah, no, I was just like when that signing happened, I'm just like, oh, like, because in all honesty too, like I'd love to see, Frankie backing things up there, because like,
He can play all sports.
yeah,
He's
he
another
was
Harry.
originally right on the right side too, wasn't he?
yeah,
And
Yeah.
he grew up in the academy playing center back. He's
he
basically
can
another
play any of the
Harrell. So
backs.
you
So
Yeah,
could base
I'd rather have Frankie
versatile.
backing up Harriel than Bizo, but that's just
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, no, same.
well,
And we saw Frankie play like so much, and
Yeah.
really, I think between him, for me, like him and maybe CJ only are like two of the most like ready to have a shot,
And,
at the first team.
and Kevin's gonna get his opportunities,
Yeah.
and I'm
Yeah.
fine if
He
Kevin,
can hold his own out
because
there.
I
We've
don't
seen him
think
do it.
Gazdag needs to be going 90 every game
Yeah.
because we see it at
Yeah.
the end of the year. He basically burns out. So like we need somebody. Is it Kevin? Do you sub him off now at
Give him
like
10, 15 minutes every now and then.
yeah,
Yeah.
like something just to keep, the wheels on for Gazdag? Because when he's actually on and he's doing well, he's the best weapon. I
Yeah.
mean, to
Yeah.
degrees.
Yeah.
So I'm interested in that. But anyway, I digress. What's your solutions?
Solutions. Let's see. Well, okay. I mean, we've got cap room. We've
Yeah,
we've got some money to spend. Um, ideally, I'd like to see another forward. I mean, maybe even somebody more expensive than Ur up there. Who knows? Yeah, again, we got the money to spend right now.
I'm cool
But
with
yeah,
that.
I think we're certainly going to see. I think we're going to see at least one or two additions in the midfield.
Right.
Somewhere there's enough kind of moving pieces in there. We're going to get something there. Um, and defense. So the new guy coming in, it looks like he's going to be pretty solid, as far as holding down the back, but isn't going to be contributing much on like set pieces. He doesn't have much aerial presence. Um, and so he's definitely helping us forward, which must mean that he's pretty solid on D and that he can pass around, right? He's got a good pass. So
He's very quick from again, I don't go much on highlights on YouTube, but he's
yeah, it's
quick.
probably top, right?
Yeah, it's what are highlights? They're highlights.
Yeah,
I let
yeah.
and it's hard to get old boys games from 2 years ago, and he was injured a lot last year, so he didn't play a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah, I had to kind of go back to 2022, 23 to kind of figure out what his game was like, right?
It was he's very fast. He's very good defensively. It's almost like a Damian Lowe. I wouldn't say that. I mean, but he reminds me of that in a little bit, where
Yeah.
he can
Well, it's
recover.
good. It'll be nice to have speed back there, right?
Well, I mean, let's be honest. Glesnes, you need somebody with speed with Glesnes out there
Yeah.
because Glesnes is going to go high, and if he gets beat, he gets beat, and it's
Yeah.
1v1. So,
Right. Yeah. So
I,
this guy, I think this is gonna be kind of our lockdown center back who's gonna
yeah,
kind of hold things down back there.
yeah,
So hopefully he is.
yeah. Um, so one last thing. Thoughts on Allie coming back?
With all the transition and stuff right now, I think Bedoya coming back is a good thing. And
I do too.
honestly,
Same.
his minutes were going down last year. He's probably not going to even hit the same minutes this year that he did last year.
Right.
But he was still. I mean, every time he came up, he had one of the few positive goals added while he was on the field compared to a lot of the other players on the team this
Hmm.
year. It's a he was, when he came on the field, at least things were, moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
And I can see the same thing happening this year.
Yeah. No, I think he brings a lot with his leadership. And again, I think at least having him there is going to be key with with having the new coaching staff and everything. But like
Yeah, it'll help with
he's
that.
good in the locker room obviously, but and of course, as he told us, they won more games when he played and
Yeah, right, to that point, right?
That is true. I am interested because some of the new roster decisions were released
Mhm.
today. And when I say roster decision, MLS released some of their updated rules for
There's
Mhm.
some
roster
crazy new
building.
rules out there this year.
Yeah, and Renee, you and I talked about this today. The off-roster homegrown rule, where they can play up to what is it, six MLS games. It's unlimited times on the bench. So now it's no longer four. You're on the bench. Now you gotta get a first team contract. You,
They give him a couple extra games, which is always good during the regular season.
yeah. So I think this is great. I think this is great for the
Mhm.
pathways. It's a little bit cleaner
The
path.
tournament games, like the unlimited homegrowns in the tournament games, like I think that's incredible. I think that's
Hmm.
awesome.
So I think this for what do you want to do? We talk about development. Ernst talked about development. So
Take a sip of your drink every time it says development, and you'll be on the
I'm waiting.
floor.
I'm waiting for that this year. That might be a new game, press conference game.
Yeah, like it used
Um,
to be. The margins are razor thin with Jim.
now it's gonna be development.
I'm gonna miss that with Jim.
But no, I think that's good. I think I'm curious. What are your thoughts on the two? Was it two money transactions, and then MLSPA came out and
Right, being able to
said
buy out a
like,
couple players.
yeah. What do you think about all those rules?
So I think being able to buy out the players, teams are going to be able to buy out one more player than they were last year, which was one
Right.
more than they'd ever been able to do before. So that's going to help out with just like, roster flexibility and getting rid of dead wood. How many times have teams been stuck with like a super crappy DP, who
Yeah.
they spent $15 million on and they can't get rid of. So that's going to be good. The
Hmm.
money for trades, I think that's a big step. That's kind of like one of the biggest steps they've taken away from MLS rules and you know diminishing Garber bucks is nuts.
Right. And the other thing was the GAM rule, where if I read it correctly, GAM can, what was it?
Yeah, Infinity Gam. We're in the era of Infinity Gam where it
It
lasts
doesn't run
forever.
out unless you're in a U22 initiative block where you get that
Right. That
$3
what
million.
you get
dollars.
for that.
You got to spend
Right.
that this year by the second transfer window, which I can see somebody reading this going and their mind just going, boom, that doesn't understand MLS. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
But I think there were some steps with this rule. Oh, there's a buff boy,
Yeah. There's Ranger.
Oh, oh, the orange boy there.
orange boy. All
Everyone's
Oh
right.
my
making their
gosh,
characters
what a
tonight.
pretty cat.
He's got a big target on the side.
Yeah,
He
that is
does.
awesome coloring.
Yeah. Hello there. Um, But no, I think in my opinion, since I've been really following the league and we've been following the league,
Hmm.
that these are some of the more encouraging roster rules. I mean, you've been following a little bit longer than we have. I mean, what do you
These
think?
are big steps. These are really big steps. I also going back to the player transfer, the fact that the players are getting 10%
Yeah, that's
right off the
huge.
cut, that doesn't happen anywhere else in the world. And so that is a big move just for like player security and player rights. Um, and yeah, so that's a huge in itself, but certainly, it's kind of a few of the training wheels are starting to come off, right?
Yeah.
MLS is kind of getting to the point where they don't need to necessarily control everything at this point, right? Things are loosening up, so it's good things. We're heading in the right direction.
For sure.
S-
So this is the next evolution. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, now, anyway, let's go have some fun now.
Yeah. So as the unofficial record keeper, what were some of the records that we set this past season, the Union set, you know,
oh,
that
we
stood out to
set some
you?
historic records this year, no doubt about it.
Oh, we
Hmm.
certainly did.
The, we've been just so incredibly lucky the last between the last 4 years before 24 really of just being able to just see, I mean, in some cases just utter dominance, right, by the Union.
Hmm.
But unfortunately this year was kind of like the reverse of that. So just some highlights just from this year. um well, first off, like, what exactly happened this year, right? And we just kind of looking back on things. We entered the year on the most points that any team had ever collected over a 3 year period, right? Um, we had this year we had the second highest amount of goals the Union have ever scored. Like, how do we screw that up? Um, we also had like pretty much the same goals against. We had five more goals against than we did in 19.
Hmm.
And our away record was pretty much the exact same as it was for both 22 and 23. We weren't that far off from that. So where did we where did we lose all of our games? Basically, we lost games that we were leading in, and lost the second half of games at home. That was the big difference this year.
It really, really was. I mean, we heard
It was
Jim's
crazy.
we've heard Jim talk about it all year. We
Yeah.
need to be stronger at home. I mean,
So
Ernst,
some quick stats from that real quick.
yeah.
Um, we led the league in points lost from winning positions this year. We lost 27 points from being yeah, from a winning position in the lead.
Hmm.
Um, we had the most goals from outside the 18 this year in MLS. We led MLS in that. We had the longest winless streak in unit history at 10 games. And during that same span, we had one game in 17 games, one win in 17 games over basically a 3 month span. So basically, there was a section of the middle half of the season, one win out of 17 games. That was
That
horrible.
was brutal.
Which I remember that was supposed to on our prediction show. We said that was the time of the window where the Union were going to make that push to kind of get back up before the brutal. And I remember halfway through the season, we are like, "Oh, they're doing okay," and then we got that false hope there after Leagues Cup, and it was like,
Mm.
then we hit
Yeah,
the end, and it was like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
it's the hope that kills you.
it is the hope that
right.
kills you." So
All right.
yeah.
So a little contrast to that between 22 and 23. The Union won 17 out of 20 home games in that, or no, yeah, 17, yeah, 17. Um, yeah, and this year, man, we just fell apart. Most
We
home
did.
losses in Union history. More home losses this year alone than in the 4 previous years combined. The longest losing streak at home in Union history. Yeah, so it was.
That was
We
rough.
were, we were, we were, this was historically the worst Union season they've had.
No, it really was. It really
Mhm.
was. But there
Now,
was some
okay,
bright
so
spots.
just
There was
just real
some
quick,
bright spots.
yes, right, to get into the good stuff now, like the good side of things. The first record, Riquinho set
Yes.
the MLS record, historic MLS record for the most seconds on the field for a raccoon. So that was the prime one.
Did
But
did you get the Topps trading card for that?
I know I did not.
We ended up getting it. So
Yeah,
that
that's awesome. That's awesome.
and somebody's we also have like a picture somewhere that we're trying to get framed of the raccoons as well.
Yeah, man. There were some good shots of it too.
There
Hmm.
was.
Uh, so some other good records from this season. Rebo's League Cup Golden Boot.
Yep,
That was pretty
Hmm.
big.
That was awesome.
that was.
Uh, Kai is now the Union assist leader at 51. He passed Latu this year.
Yep.
Gazdag became the Union goal leader at 68. He also surpassed Latu.
Hmm.
So Latu, Carranza, and Gazdag all lead the Union with 6 multi-goal games, and
Hmm.
both Gazdag and Carranza hit that this year as well. Gazdag and Carranza together scored more, had more combined goals in a game than anyone else in MLS, past surpassing Juvinko and Altidore this year.
Yeah.
So that was a big one. They reached 16 games with both of them scoring. So yeah, so we did have some good stuff this year. It wasn't all bad.
Right.
So we covered that. Jillian asked Jim the question once Kai broke the record. Also talked to Kai about that.
Yeah, actually, yeah, because Kai had mentioned it to me when I interviewed him after training, and that's when I first was, oh, he is that close, you know. So
So
Yeah.
so the two's in the Ring of Honor. Is Gazdag and Kai two people you think maybe eventually get in?
That one's tough. It's always
Yeah, it
tough to
is.
look at players right now. You kind of like when you think of the Ring of Honor, you kind of want to give it a 5 year or like at least like a 3 year window. Like
hmm.
these are kind of things that we should look at in 3 years when you have a little more perspective and such. Especially now, this was an amazing run, right? Like
Mhm.
22, 23, 21,
Hmm.
22, 23, 20. That whole stretch there, it's like how many of those guys should we be putting into the Ring of Honor? I mean, all of
Hmm.
them were doing amazing stuff at amazing moments for the Union and took the Union where they'd never been before, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
So it's gonna be interesting to see kind of where the fan sentiment ends up on that. Like how many of these how many of these guys can we put in? Like Bedoya, I kind of feel like Bedoya should be up there.
Yeah. Andre
Um,
Blake.
and Blake certainly, right?
I
Yeah.
With
think
the
I
amount,
I
think
think
that
Blake
Blake,
should
he's
yeah.
do
meant to
it.
this team. I mean,
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
The only MLS goalkeeper to this point to win three MLS Goalkeeper of the Year awards. That's
right,
pretty
right.
amazing. So,
Okay, so real quick, I want to go back to I want to give some quick stats, some dupe records for Jim Curtin too.
Okay.
okay.
Um, so wait, I lost it here. Oh, here we go. So Jim was able to get the seventh most MLS career wins. He's up there with like Peter Vermees and some of those guys right now. Um, he's the only MLS coach to take the team to five consecutive postseasons. I know like everybody else has not been able to do that. So yeah, like we've been kind of lucky in that regard.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
impressive.
he's also the second youngest to 100 wins, only being beaten by Ben Olsen, who like had like beat him by half a year or something like that. He'd just done it recently as well, but it also took Ben Olsen 2 more years to get there. So yeah, so those some good Jim Curtin dupe records.
And we both appreciate that
Yeah.
because I know, well, talking to me personally, Jillian probably will tell you she could care less. I love stats. Uh, the joke in the press box is one of us is looking at either uh, Todd or I about stats because I
Yeah,
mean,
Yeah.
I'm always a big analytics guy.
Yeah.
As a coach, she'll tell you I'm up late night. Like when I was coaching college, I was up late looking at splits, all that crazy stuff. And that's one of the other reasons I love Jim because he was
yeah,
always into data, and data always wasn't the end all be all. And I think sometimes he's pushed too far to that. I think a lot of times data matches up with what your eyes are
Hmm.
seeing. But yeah, no, I love records like that because it's always fun.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
All right. So, also you shared some of your dupe designs. We'd love to hear more about these.
So yeah, we're gonna share some design. Share the screen here. See. All right. Let me share that and click on this. All right. So, Renee, you like you said, you shared some designs with us. You've done some union designs. So, we're going to share with all our listeners. If you're listening, if you're on Spotify, you can watch the video feed. Otherwise, click on to our YouTube channel. So, go ahead, Renee.
so this is a fun little project. Obviously, um, with the union, it was just classic for the Union to be able to use the Captain America shield and put the decal on it and such like that. So this was just kind of a simple project, but this was ended up making a using a toy Captain America shield. You get maybe a foot wide or something like that, but and mashed up the supporter shield and the Union logo on this one. So they actually end up meshing pretty well together.
Yeah, those are
I was pretty
fantastic.
surprised by it.
That looks fantastic.
Yeah, it really, really does. And I just really love how you I just love that story about how they
It
couldn't
was
get,
just so amazing, right? Yeah,
yeah,
that
like
is
it's
just like
COVID, they
a
couldn't
great
get
MLS story right there.
yeah, like, and somebody just ran out, got Captain America shield. Was it Bros? Didn't Bros tell us the story? Like he ran out, got Captain American shield from
It
somebody.
was
Hmm.
yeah, it was the boyfriend of one of the people that worked there, and he had a legitimate, pretty pricey, yeah, 600 $700 Captain America shield that was metal and everything. It had leather straps on it, and it was legit.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Um, and they were able to put this wrap on it.
yeah, that's amazing story. And then we want to talk about your band-aids. So we got the Jimbo band-aid, we got the Buns band-aid, we got the Duke band-aid, and I want to talk about the Mimbo
Yeah.
because the Mimbo one's amazing.
So that one is that one I realized after I'd created it that it probably should have been himbo, but it still works.
Yeah.
But
No,
yeah,
so
the Jimbo was the most recent one. That was one that I just kind of redid recently. Um, but yeah, it's like so these are basically kind of bumper sticker material, but they fit perfectly. I designed them to fit perfectly right onto the logo of the older shirts.
Nice.
Unfortunately, it doesn't work as well with the new shirts just because they, to their credit, actually, I think they've done a pretty good job with the Bimbo logo on current jerseys and matching the colors and such. But
Yeah.
like the old jerseys, it was a vinyl sticker basically itself that was just put on the jersey. So these worked amazingly well, and they stuck perfectly to that.
no, I love them. And what is so it's just a vinyl?
Yeah, it's basically just kind of bumper stickers.
Huh, interesting. No, I think my favorite one always will be the Dupe one. I
Yeah.
would
Yeah.
love to see
Uh,
the Union come out with a third kit, and rather than the Beambo, just say Dupe on it.
yeah, that would be great.
So, and now we have the Star Wars uh, helmet that you designed. Just gonna kind of take a look here, and this is, I believe you said from the Star Wars night.
Yeah, kind of. This was after they gave us the Fang dupe or dupe not. There is no try flags, um, and so I was kind of inspired by that. But also, this was kind of a 2020 COVID project. Plenty of time on my hands, so I ended up doing this and a couple other things. But yeah, this was a lot of fun. This was a 2008 Star Wars Clone Wars helmet, Phase One Clone Wars helmet. And I just kind of did a fun paint scheme on it. Added a lot of fun kind of decals to it, a bunch of MLS decals. You can see the Sons of Ben on the front there. On that first photo, you get to see the old Bethlehem's I-beam logo on there. And if you go to the next one, I think you can see the front of
Oh,
it.
oh, wait a
Oh,
minute.
that was or maybe the one
There
before.
we go. There we go.
Yeah, yeah.
I love this.
It looks so good.
It is, and my favorite one is you got the Sons of Ben, the little dupe stickers, like you said, the Bethlehem steel. I just love the paint job on this. You did a
Hmm.
remarkable job. Do you still have it?
Oh yeah. No, I've got it with me right here.
All right, let's stop sharing here for a second. Let's see if you. Oh, there it is.
All right.
Yeah. So I've got this.
Awesome.
That is amazing.
Very nice.
Baby snakes and like random MLS stickers on there.
Have you
Got
ever
the
worn it?
Duke.
Have you ever
Oh yeah.
worn it?
So this came down with me. This went down to the CCL games in Mexico City with me.
Oh,
Oh wow.
nice.
And I was we were on the bus and I was gonna wear it into the stadium and they started going through this list of things that you could not wear in the stadium, which included belts. It included like strings or something else. We couldn't like I had to fight to get the flag, just to be aware of the flag in there.
Yeah.
And so I didn't even like want to try with this. I was like, that's
Yeah.
that's not gonna work. So
No.
that's that, and then this is the my toy Captain America shield.
Nice.
And then that is nice. And
Hmm.
so you'd also shared with me the cabinet you made with all the soccer balls, and you have one of the original MLS soccer balls, correct?
Yeah, this one's probably definitely one of the prizes of my collection right now. So this is the first year. This is a one of the All-Star game balls.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, 12 of 50.
Wow.
So this was an amazing find. And I'm so happy that they're going back to the colors this year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they look great.
I'm pretty psyched about the this year's soccer ball. So
Me too. We saw the replica, and we are going to get a replica soccer ball. Actually, we have a friend that is able, but we were at Dick's this past weekend. We saw the replica one. Now, I'll be interested
Yeah,
to see what the difference is between the
Hmm.
replica and the real one, but it,
the real one's got a lot of details. It's pretty cool. I mean, it goes through and like we're going to see the whole basically history of MLS soccer balls in that one design. So that's going to be pretty cool.
yeah, I'll tell you this though, the replica is pretty sweet. I
Hmm.
mean, I
Yeah,
was like
yeah.
looking at it. I was looking at like the if the authentic's awesome, great, but for like $100 cheaper, I'll just take a
Great.
replica.
Hmm.
But anyway, let's get back to sharing some more of some of your designs here. Let's move on to some car decals.
This was fun. So this, I'd always kind of wanted a hood cover. And so I made a small run of these. I made about 10 of them and I actually sold all of them. So they are out there in the wild. But sadly, they were they were not of the best quality and faded after about a season and a half.
So let's look at some more
Looks
here.
so cool. So
But
that
it was
is
a lot of fun to make.
awesome.
It was. And then you
And
made two,
I might do another run of those at some point.
and then yeah, no, I would love to see, I would love to see maybe. I'd love to see what you would do with that. Now, like you said, kind of did your first run, what the second run would look like. But
Yeah, I want to update the design, play with the design a little bit. I did that one because I liked, I love the original kit. I love that classic kit. I love the
right.
seven stripe and everything. So,
And the
but yeah,
original logos on there and everything,
yeah,
with the
yeah,
fangs rather than just kind of plain.
Yeah.
It's got the
right.
fangs like the bars. No, so then you also in 2022 designed two kits. One has more of the lightning bolt. One again is more of the classic design right here. And then I want to kind of go forward here. You got them showed side by side, which I think this is really beautiful. You got them hanging outside the window. I can see myself doing that.
Yeah. Those banners look great.
This
So
is a lot of fun. Like yeah, after the Sport Shield, yeah, that was amazing. I love the Sport Shield to begin with. But
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for us to win that and this yeah, I just wanted something to commemorate that. So making these flags was definitely more for myself. But this was another one where I made like 10 of each of them, and I was able to sell all of those as well. But this was a lot of fun to make. Like putting kind of this scale pattern on the background. On the light blue one, it's got the lightning bolt as a center stripe design, and also uses kind of that, that this was with the lightning bolt kit, we had that bright yellow kind of cornmeal bright yellow. Um, and so that kind of features a little more in this flag as well.
right,
And
right.
then the other
No,
one goes back to just kind of the home kit colors.
no, I love the light blue. I think it's really sharp. And then lastly, kind of your full design here. You were featured
Yeah,
on the first game back, well, increased capacity in
Hmm.
2020
right.
against Portland Timbers. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So these were, yeah, the COVID days, right? I was able to get into a lot of the early games, and I was pretty happy to do that. You all matched up and whatever, but so that yeah, that shot is the flag and the supporter shield in full motion right there.
No, no. So, um, we have a couple things we want to share real quick.
Yeah. So, because we didn't get a chance to share what gifts and things we got that were union
We
things.
can
Yeah,
share them
yeah,
real
So,
quick.
first of all, shout out to our friend Todd Lewis of the Free Kick. He sent us a photo album. Okay. And it has lots of pictures of our away trips and when we were also at the United Soccer Coaches Convention in Anaheim last year.
There's us with Dan
yeah,
Abrahams. So, for those of you who don't know who Dan Abrahams is, he's a sports psychologist. He works
Hmm.
a lot with Premier League soccer teams.
Yeah.
Um,
There you can see close if you're
so,
watching.
fun story about this. So, we were supposed to have him on opening night, and he got tied up in his speech and all this. And we're like, oh, that was the one, as coaches, as somebody who loves sports psychology like me, I was like, there was,
Yeah.
that was the one guest I shouldn't say it because I loved Mandy. I loved
We talked with a lot of great
we
people,
talked to a
honestly.
lot of great people. We talked with Thomas.
Yeah, Thomas Gronemark, who the
Yeah,
throw-in
the coach
coach.
for the Union
Um,
during their 2022 season. There was
mhm.
just a lot of great conversations that all three of us had, but Dan Abrahams was one I really wanted. And so I emailed him back and I'm like, when can you meet? He's like, can I meet you first thing at 8 a.m.? And that's like when it opened. And we're like, deal. And he was so
It was
awesome.
an awesome
And
conversation.
like I'm
Yeah,
thinking
that's great.
we're like nobodies. This is
Yeah.
like one of the leading sports
He
psychologists.
has a huge following on Twitter
And
and
You
everything.
guys,
and
yeah,
like
you guys
he's
got some
been
good talks out of that one.
and
Yeah.
he also has had some really big guests and he's been on a lot of things, but he was so kind, like,
Yeah.
and he even at the end was like, I could go on. We're like, no, we said 20 minutes. We'll keep it, but
But he was awesome. And
like he's somebody
yeah.
I'd love to get back for
Yeah.
like another
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
hour long
And
episode because I could just go
yeah.
into just details about
And for
everything.
anyone
I
listening, if
will
you
say,
haven't heard that episode, go back and check it out. It's from January of last year.
Yeah.
yeah, you
And
guys had some
yeah,
good talks
there's
about that.
there we are at our
Yeah.
thing too.
And then it's just other trips,
Yeah, just some fun things
things
and like Skylar, Todd and me
DC,
DC and our crew that we had at
Red Bull.
the Red Bull game. And we played some soccer golf
Yeah,
together. We
Todd
had
and
some
I
fun
play soccer
things
golf from time to
Yeah.
time.
and concerts and things. Here's the favorite too. Like us with Todd, Kyle, Dave Leno and me at the Columbus game. We were
That's
up
awesome.
there in the press room. We were talking with Danny Higginbotham there too, which was awesome.
Belated
Which,
happy birthday to Dave, by the way.
Yes,
yeah.
yes. Dave's birthday was yesterday.
So funny,
So yeah.
so funny story. You talk about the drop points, right?
Mm.
Um, Danny and Dave were having a discussion, and Todd and
Mhm.
I were sitting there. And I'm on my computer just pulling up these stats. And I'm like, gentlemen, and Danny's like, "Are you sure it's the number?" I'm like, "Turn it over. Here's how many points the Union have dropped for lead positions."
Yeah.
So I will say this coming season, I think a couple of us are going to be tracking that. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know.
Well, hopefully we don't have to track that this year,
Yeah,
right? We
Yeah.
don't
yeah,
have to do. We don't have
I
to do
know.
that.
And then of course, moving on the gifts too. Of course, I had gotten you the shirt.
Yeah,
My mom got me this Union backpack, which was nice. And Kyle got me this tank top, which I really like. Union tank top. And that'll be nice when it's hot out. Um, and I got Kyle this. I know you love this one. This
yeah,
is a little lightweight hoodie. It's Columbia brand. It's all black with the Union logo on it. Um, and speaking of pictures, Kyle does like a photo collage every year for me. So
yeah.
here's ones with all of our friends. Um,
Yeah, it's awesome.
so we have like several of these hung up in our house. So um, shout out to all the people that made it onto our you know, collage this year.
Yeah.
Um, and this isn't a gift, but we do have new stickers. They're pretty much the same, except they have our website on them.
Yeah.
And so anyone listening who hasn't got any stickers from us, we
And
have more.
and
Hit us
by the
up.
way, I will break this news. It's not really news, but I did create a new design today that I kind of took some of your idea, Renee. I hope you don't mind. I kind of made a snakeskin background instead of it just being blue.
Yeah, sweet.
I haven't even seen this yet.
No, you haven't, and
Yeah.
I'm still tweaking it. Right now, if you look at it, it does not look good. I'm trying to decide, do I want to add a little more color in the background or just want to keep it blue? Kind of like what you did with the lightning bolts where they were all kind of the same color and nothing really stood out, you
It's
know.
yeah, kind of like a good subtle pattern in the
Yeah,
background.
yes.
Yeah,
That's kind
yeah.
of where I'm at with it. Like right now, it's like the background's like shooting out at you. You're just like, that's too much.
Yeah.
So we're playing with it. But anyway, this has been fun.
Hmm.
I guess last topic. What's the best case of outside winning the MLS Cup? What's a realistic expectation in your mind for this year?
It kind of goes back to like looking at how Bradley Cornell was able to get St. Louis to shoot out of the gate last year. I mean, and we've got oh man, as far as the roster makeup, it's going to be, it really kind of depends on what Tanner brings in as for how kind of like true Red Bull we can get, like energy
Right.
drink soccer we can get, because we kind of don't have all the pieces right now to really fill that out. And that was certainly one of the reasons why Jim wasn't doing the same thing he was doing in 22, right? We were not playing in the same style we were in 22 at all.
No.
Um, and I to Jim's credit, he was kind of working back on what he knew and was kind of working in some of the other ideas and it was fun to see him at least try to play with three in the back this year. It didn't work, but
Yeah.
that was kind of a fun evolution in Jim's tactics at least. But this year, I mean, I think we're pretty much going to be strict 4-4-2 diamond, Gazdag at the top, and yeah, it's gonna be chaos ball again, right?
It really
Buckle
is.
up, everyone.
But also in chaos, there is beauty at times, right?
I
Yes.
truly, I mean, goals, baby.
Yep.
Hey,
Yep.
remember,
I'd love to see us start setting hat trick records and
Mm-hmm.
multiple six to nothing games again.
well, I would
I'm not
love to
I'm
see
not
is
opposed to that.
I would love to see Gazdag and Ua get up there, and they broke Kranza and Gazdag broke that
Mm-hmm.
Altidor's record. Who was it? It was Altidore and
Giovinco,
yeah, Giovinco's.
Atomic Ant.
Yeah, I love to see Ua and Gazdag get up there this year. Just see them
Yeah.
kind of like if it would be wild to
Well, I mean,
think.
Gazdag filled that, right? And I mean, he's scored the most outfield goals that he's scored since he's been with the
Yeah,
Union.
Mm-hmm.
And or kind of, I mean, yeah, he kind of did the same thing he does every year, right?
I mean he's gonna
So,
give you he's gonna
well,
give you 10 to 13 goals a year, and that's
it'll be
fine.
interesting. It'll be interesting to see how Carnell uses him because
Mm-hmm.
we kind of finally figured out like trying to get the ball in behind is where Ura's strength is, right?
Eh,
He
yeah,
needs that ball to run onto.
yep,
Mm-hmm.
So that's dumping that ball in behind is something that's I could see Carnell doing and actually trying to truly utilize Ur because that's how he scored all his goals before he came to MLS.
yeah. I mean,
Looking back at his goals in yeah, like, all of
at-
them were like half of those goals were him running in behind and taking a one-on-one with the keeper and blowing it away because he's using his speed. So
right.
hopefully, maybe
Well,
we get that this year.
Well, we'll see.
yep.
But anyway, again, thank you so much for
Yep.
joining
We
us.
appreciate it.
Yeah,
Where can people
it's been
find
fun
you?
tonight. So I'm on Blue Sky and Twitter at Silver Ray. Um, and yeah, find me out there. I'm roaming out there a lot.
No, this has been fun. And do you want to share a story?
The fact that
This is actually the second time we've talked to Renee in 48
yeah. So
hours.
we would have yeah. So
This episode, if you're listening, probably we're gonna probably drop it Thursday morning. If you're listening Thursday morning, um, this was supposed to be out Wednesday morning. Um,
but hey Todd, I got a blunder of the week for you.
you want to say it?
Yeah, Kyle messed up and
Well, did
somehow
Kyle mess up or something? We
something happened. Anyway, we had this great conversation.
Allegedly,
Yeah,
allegedly.
allegedly. Yes.
allegedly.
But something happened and well, we had this great conversation and then found out it didn't record.
No, we got literally. We all heard recording in progress.
Yeah.
Well, at least we did, and it came in, and I guess when we early on we kind of shared earlier the screens that we shared with you later. Um, and we got into this great conversation. Kind of actually, I'm going to say this right now. I thought tonight was a little bit more. I thought I enjoyed tonight just as much.
Well,
So
it was all good, yeah.
it was all good. So this is one of those things where they're like, the second recording's never as good as first. Actually, I kind of like tonight. But having said that, yeah, we get to the end and I'm like, all right, and this has been what? Like, cause so I go, this is the end. I'll give you a little behind the curtain. I go on to hit the stop button and I go to hit it on. Usually there's like a pause and a stop button on Zoom. That's how it works. And I go and it says record, and I'm like, what?
Oh no.
My God, we just recorded this. But
Yes. Anyway,
so anyway, Renee, again,
we
we,
appreciate your
we
time.
appreciate your time. This has been
Yeah,
great.
absolutely, guys.
And this is going to be a great story for the future.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah.
Anyway, so this
So,
has been an episode of One Team We Agree On.
yeah, make sure to like and subscribe. Check us out on our various socials, our website. You can find us where you get your podcasts as well. We're on a variety of platforms there. And leave us comments. We love hearing from you. We love interacting with you. So, be sure to hit us up on that.
And until next time, I'm Kyle.
I'm Jillian.
We'll see you at the game.